this ghost truck. And over on 295, the guy stole some cookies. I was like, what's it like there? 295. A couple of years ago. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was like, well,
Depends what kind of cookies, Frank.
I know. That was the intent of control.
This is deal.
I didn't realize it was fast.
They don't know, they can't fix it.
You know, how many reps don't even know a lot of the laws. Not on these certain committees and they don't know.
What you asked for.
Yeah, no.
That's my sheet. We all think it would be better. Maybe.
It's more expensive.
Better decision making.
But you're up to some jobs. You make these laws. Does it make sense? It's geared towards certain. Certain,
Very true.
Oh, yeah, the neighbors.
We're gone.
All right, we're back. In public.
Thank you, Treasurer. In executive session, we took a vote. We are going to reject the settlement demand that was made, and the board has authorized me to file an appeal once an order enters on the motion for summary judgment in the Mr. Pearson matter.
All right, so that was reported. So,
Also, the minutes were sealed. The vote was taken to seal the minutes.
so I'll now move over to our committee reports. Disability Committee, I call on the doctor to report.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the Disability Committee recommendations from the June 6th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Any nays? So moved. All right, we'll pass it back on to you, Mr. Nada, for your governance report.
Great, thank you, Treasurer. Before the board today, just to provide an update, we hosted a governance committee meeting this morning at 8:30, just to fine tune some of our comments for this morning before the board. So I've been communicating with Kim and Tamara from CBiz regarding the recruitment process. So far, I'd like to report that the process is moving forward based on the timeline that they originally provided to the board. They are presently in the process of vetting the initial applications that have been received from not only their research and through their network, but also through referrals. Thus far, the position, and I don't know if everyone received a copy of the actual job posting. I've got some hard copies, which I know this group never deals with, but I've got some if you want. It's just an innocent job posting. So I think we can hand that out if people would like to see it on your way out. But the posting actually has been distributed. And I want to just give you a perspective on the scope of that distribution. It's on LinkedIn, on Pensions and Investments. It's on the benefits link. It's on the National Council on Teacher Retirement Pension Systems. It's on the site for the National Association of State Retirement Administrators, the National Conference on Public Employee Retirement Systems, Government Finance Officers Association, the National Association of Securities Professionals, National Association of Government Defined Contribution Administration, and the CBiz website. And if it's not, I'm assuming it will be posted on the normal state system, plus the Providence Insurance. Plus the Providence Insurance. So I think that's professionally, that's probably about as good as we could do in terms of broad coverage. The CBiz has really embarked on significant outreach from my perspective and the committee's perspective on looking at referral candidates. And I think that's the one benefit of actually hiring a recruitment firm. So we didn't hire somebody just to manage the process, but they're actually utilizing the contacts and their prior contacts in other jobs, similar job searches, to be able to redirect and find the right person with the experience and skill sets and chemistry to fit this organization. I think we're getting close, and the committee spoke about it this morning in terms of conducting an initial set of interviews. Those will probably be remote with Kim Bradney initially, and I think as we go through that process, we'll have a representative from CBiz actually physically here with us. We would expect that to start probably in the next couple of weeks, and CBiz is doing their due diligence. They did note for me that there were a number of regular, as they call them, applicants from around the country that they did not feel fit this position requirements well, so they're already starting to cull those out of the group. From a timeline perspective, the timeline that was originally provided in the information that was distributed to the board included this, and it was a launch and strategy development in mid-May. It was a search of the launch of the process itself and the go live of the job in late May. Recruiting started in late May and will run pretty much through the month of June. Interviews will begin in late June, beginning of July, and those initial culling of candidates that apply. And then the finalist due diligence and interviewing schedule will probably occur later in July for the beginning of August with some confidence that we have a good quality pool and we'll be able to actually make a recommendation to the full board probably for the August meeting. The question will be, and we don't know the answer to this yet, is how many candidates that would be who you would be interviewing as a full board in executive session, whether that's 1, 2, or 3 candidates. We don't know yet until we see the quality of the pool. So we'll be able to get to that. The thing that we really spoke about this morning, which is critically important, I think, to the overall search, is the compensation schedule. So presently, the director provided us with the schedule that's applicable to all similarly situated state employees. So the director presently is in category 8547, which I know means nothing to anybody here, but it's a particular category that runs from 8542 to 8552. It's from low to high. That schedule, as of today, is embedded in a 3-year contract where these salaries received a 5% increase this year, will receive another 4% July 1, and will receive another 3% July 1, 26. So this schedule we've been updating because really when we start interviewing, that 4% will be added to the schedule on July 1. So we'll be in the middle of that process. So the basic classification as it exists today runs from 158.4 through 176. That schedule will change as a committee. And in terms of managing the process and the advertising associated with the position and our communication with CBiz we don't feel that is going to be a successful range to be able to recruit the kind of candidate that we're looking for. So our recommendation as a guide, just for advertising purposes, ultimately any decision is going to be approved by this full board for the hiring and for the setting of the salary later. But for us to attract good quality candidates, we believe the range needs to start not at 8547, but at the low end of 8549, which is 170,000, but with the 4% increase, that pushes that up to 177. So that's the low range, 8549, and that's that salary schedule. And the absolute high range of the entire schedule under 8552 today is $213,818. With the 4% added to that, that'll be pushed up a little over 222,000. So as a committee, we agreed to move forward with CBiz in terms of advertising the position from a low of 175 to we're rounding to a high of 220,000 just to start the conversation. That works within the existing state system. I think the board, talking to the director and council, has the authority to set salaries within that range. For whatever reason you want to extend beyond that, there's a different process. We'll be a little bit more involved, and we won't know that our candidates will be of that range until we get much farther into the process. So we're happy to field any questions, but that's our approach in terms of the timeline, in terms of working with CBiz, the recruitment process, where the ads have been placed, our upcoming interview schedule, as well as our thoughts on compensation. So any questions from the board?
I just put in that, resume, the job spec.
Yeah, great.
It's in there, so if
Okay.
you want to take a peek at
I was gonna say, you're applying again, Frank?
Yes.
it. Needs to be a bigger scale.
Yeah, so
Get off the beach though. You can't do it by Zoom.
I think the committee feels good about the process. You know, we're moving forward on time. We're trying to keep this as tight as possible, knowing that the director's down to his last week and we're trying to minimize that period, but at the same time, trying to recruit good quality people that can serve us for many years to come. But happy to answer any questions. The board members are here, many of them as well.
Yeah. Any, Bill?
I just, I think you're right on target on that, range. Meaning that, if you're gonna get qualified people, I went through it with Rybeck. We had to hire an executive director a year ago. And, we found that it's who you attract, and it's by the salary, there's no question, you know, the ability of them to do the job, so I think you're in. If you're on the low range, I think you're gonna have a problem. And, whether we have to go to that is another story, because there's a lot of ways to juggle it. But you wanna get the people in to see who you get as the best candidate at the time. And that's, I think, the number one goal, just to throw it out, because we went through this a year ago, I think I mentioned to you on the
We did.
side.
Same thinking, Bill, of the committee.
Yep.
We're just looking for flexibility to
Right.
attract good people and then ultimately it'll.
But you wanna get the good people
Yeah.
in first,
That's
Yeah.
correct.
and then we can make decisions from there. But if you don't get the good people in there, you're gonna, you know,
You're gonna find
you'll
another
be
job.
calling Frank back,
Yeah.
very quickly.
Brenna?
Do we know, when we looked at the compensation, do we know how our range sort of compares to similar positions in other states? And when was the last time we actually increased the salary for this position?
Right, I think you said one, right? They got
No,
over
right,
that.
I said. And in terms of other states, it's tough not to crack, because I've got colleagues who are 300,000 plus, but they've got a broader, like, they also have investments.
Mhm.
They've got bigger systems, they've got, different pieces, so it's hard to say, here is, I can tell you I've done, at least in my time here, surveys probably annually. And they all the place,
Mhm.
again, but it's based on the size, there's a lot of factors that go in.
Sure.
So CBiz is working on that for us, and I think their challenge, as noted by Kim Bradney, is just to compare apples to apples. That's the
Yeah.
tough piece, is there are only so many organizations like this with as many plans as in our size and our density and our focus, and others have much broader responsibility with the investments. So her words to me were, it probably really needs to be above 200. So as an informal reaction, as she puts those numbers together, but as soon as we get them, happy to share them with the full board.
That would be great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
It's based on the size of the fund or based on the size of the organization staff?
I think a little bit of both. I think.
Yeah, it's generally the bigger the fund, the bigger the system. One of my colleagues in Missouri, he's got 400,000 plus members. With multiple systems, he's probably got a staff of like 200 or 300 people. So it's a different degree.
How many staff here?
Here,
Yeah.
30. Yeah, he's probably got his IT department's probably 30 people.
No.
But we'll keep reporting back
Yeah.
to the board at every meeting.
No other questions for Andy? All right,
Thank you for your good work, Dan.
well, Frank, time has come.
If I might have a moment, Treasurer.
Yes,
Can we just go ahead?
you gonna hold it together, Frank?
Not easy. I'm warning you up front, but well. As you know, this is the last meeting for me. Since the inception of the employees' retirement system, there have only been 5 directors in 89 years. So I'm honored and proud to be part of that. Over my 31 years here, I've had the privilege of serving 6 treasurers, 11 chiefs of staff, the 15-member board that I administered 8 board elections, 4 special elections, and 245 board meetings. That does not count all the other committee meetings and what have you. We've also implemented 2 big IT systems, 4 major legislative benefit changes. And I think I mentioned this before. In fact, when I got hired here, there were 5 benefit structures. There's now over 45. So it's gone through a quite substantive change. What I learned from this experience was change. A good friend and a colleague of mine was actually in the AG's office. We used to chat periodically when we got wonky with, our hair's ready to come out of our head. And by the way, I had more hair on a star. But we had to remind ourselves that we were the soldiers. Governor McKee, Speaker Shikarchi, Senate President Lawson, Treasurer Diosa, they're vested with the ability to, legislate or initiate changes. Our jobs were to execute. We didn't get to question, we had to do it, we just implemented it. Which is basically what I always looked at as the job spec of a public servant. But those changes didn't come easily. If it wasn't for the skillful dedication and guidance of this retirement board and the entire staff here at ERSRI, because without them, this wouldn't have happened. So for that, I thank the board and the team for their unwavering commitment and support. Lastly, and probably most importantly, my real boss, my wife. I have to thank her for putting up, with me coming back and wired and screaming and trying to get, the work done, as well as my children. Well, it's been an honor to have served as executive director. I bid you all farewell. Look for the best of the future. Most importantly, always feel free to contact me. I've always had this thing that once a board member, always a board. Thank you.
Well, I also want to say, look, I've got to enjoy you as a colleague for 3 years, but more as my time as mayor, and I think that there's no doubt that you are recognized as an expert, that you're passionate, but I also think more importantly that you care. That you don't look at these benefit structures and all these numbers as just benefits and numbers. You look at these as real people who get impacted every single day. And you've also become a national expert. There's not too many people who've been in this role for such a long time. That's why I asked the General Assembly tomorrow to recognize him on the floor in both chambers, because again, he's talked to many generations of senators and reps and governors, and he's been the guy that's held the whole system together, right? There's governors that changed, treasurers that changed, speakers, senate presidents. He's been here consistently, and he's done an incredible job. I think we all recognize his work, and you're gonna leave a very big hole, not only because of your expertise, but just you as a person, Frank. You really do matter. You mean a lot to this group and to this whole organization, and you will be missed. Thank you, Treasurer. Well, not too many people can say they manage Roger Williams' pension, right? I'll open it up to the board to say you were like.
Frank, when I took this job, I had no idea what to expect.
Neither did I.
And I'm sure I've told some people this story before, but when I first got elected, Frank called me. I'm driving down the street with my wife and my daughter. And I pulled over into a car wash and I park and I take out a notepad. Frank's like, all right, we got to discuss some things. He's like, I just want to update you on. And then 2 hours later, my daughter's in the back going, I'm hungry. And I got like 8 pages of notes. And my wife is like trying to hold it together, and it's funny, but it was invaluable. And over the years being involved with union stuff and this and that, your name always came up, and I'm actually honored that I got the pleasure of meeting you and building a friendship with you and being able to work with you, because it's really changed me for the better. And I think you've changed the state and everybody in this room for the better, Frank, and you've done a hell of a job, and you should be proud of yourself, and I'm sad to see you go.
It's very nice, thank you. Appreciate that.
Come on, Mark. I know you have something there. Come on, you've been here a long
Oh,
time.
sad.
Yeah, when I was first appointed to the board, it was temporary. It was to fill a position for a year. I think that was like 14 years ago. But when I first met Frank, he gave me a book that was like this thing, the blue binder. And as we transitioned through, but Frank has been an invaluable asset to this board. I've learned a lot going through. Frank has emailed me on Saturday night at 10 o'clock, and I haven't responded till Monday because I'm like, why is he, I would make an inquiry, and you never know when it's coming back from Frank. Weekend, Sunday, Saturday nights. But I wouldn't respond to him until Monday, because I'm trying to say, Frank, it can wait till Monday, but, I've had many conversations with Frank, both professionally and personally. He's always had an open ear, and he's always given me invaluable advice. I'm sorry to see him go. I wish he would stay. And he's going to be missed, and I'm going to miss him personally, both professionally and as a friend. So thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Mark. That's very kind of you. We've had a lot of good conversations.
Yes, we have.
As a newcomer, and on a bunch of boards, I can say, Frank, that, I've dealt with a few executive directors in my time. And never been so impressed with a gentleman like you. Your knowledge, your dedication, which was just mentioned in here, was so important because you wear the board right here on your, no question about it. And your fairness, but knowledge alone is just unbelievable. And in a role that I've had as a former mayor and a few things, I know a lot of people, and I've not run into one person kind of higher up that hasn't had just the nicest things to say about you. And I think the most important thing is the respect they have for you. And you've earned it. It was just said here earlier, and you've earned every bit of it. And especially not having a raise that only a couple of times like that, that's unbelievable, because most people get ticked off and they're not in the job much longer. But I don't think, not that you didn't want the money, but I don't think that was your main ambition. Your ambition was to make this the best board possible, and you did it.
Thanks.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Frank, I'm very new to this board, and I was very surprised a few months ago. I was on vacation and I get several phone message from Frank. What is going on? We just finished a board meeting. I was in North Carolina. And then Frank said, please call me back. And I tried to call, and the phone tag, he said, oh, well, I finally reached him. He said, well, I'm retiring. I just want you to hear from me. That was very sweet. He said it would do on Projo or something. But that was not the first time I get phone call like Matt, when I first he told me, yeah, you get elected. And I was like, oh my gosh. He was keep going and talking, and I said, I'm very excited to working with you, but so many new concepts I need to learn. But first conversation will go on for a very long time. So Frank, thank you for your support and the guidance in the first year. And also I appreciate you set up the Teams meeting last week. Even I was away, I really want to have that training and attend that training. And thank you, and enjoy your well-deserved retirement.
Thank you so much. Very nice of you. I appreciate that.
Sandra?
I just wanted to add, I think Frank is one of the most patient people that I have had. Because also as a newer member to the board and wanting to know everything, and I would approach Frank with questions, there was never a question he did not answer. And answered it so thoroughly, really, and never did he say, oh, why is she asking me that? No, he took every question, with sincerity, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
Gene?
After 17 years, I learned that if you ask Frank what time it is, he's gonna tell you how to build a watch.
Sometimes it's a strategy.
And I've learned also that's a good strategy, because all of the information that Frank shares, even when you think it's a quick question, and you get more information than you thought you needed, half an hour later, you're gonna say, if he hadn't told me that, I'd be calling him back. And that's the way Frank operates. And I gotta tell you that, I don't know how the retirees know about Frank, how they feel about Frank, but they should be damn thankful that he sat in this chair for 31 years, because not this board, but the retirees are better off because Frank sat in that chair than someone else. And you're gonna miss the hell out of him, and it's gonna be difficult. Somehow we'll get by, but we've got your number, Frank.
You do. Thank you, Chief. believe me.
Something.
I was waiting for you, Claire.
Yeah, well, this is gonna be tough. When Mike Downey asked me to run to fill in Renardo's spot, I never thought I would get elected. I did. And I always worked in the financial pocket. Now, this is a lot of legal stuff, but I was like, for whatever I needed an answer to something, he was right there. And he would listen to me rant and rave, probably swear a lot. But he was okay with that.
Entertaining.
I came in when the pension system was going under, revision under Gina Raimondo. I remember being carted out into a room, I couldn't vote. So we've been through a lot, but he's always been professional. And I know a lot of people in high level positions in state government. A lot of them get dogged, but never Frank. They always have the utmost respect for him. And I can say that my council members, Council 94 respects him highly. And I'm gonna miss him.
Claire, I will miss our conversation. That was a break in the action where, it's like when you would get aggravated and you would start swearing a lot. But it was like Luciano Pavarotti, like it was a nice flow. What's this? And when you got done, you want to like clap. That was great.
But you always calm me down and you would always, try to work me through it and come to a resolution and lead us in the right direction. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Very heartfelt.
So Frank, although I don't use as much profanity as Claire, but he's
Like
multi-talented.
the opposite.
Well, so I've worked in municipal government for 34 years, which spans your career. So I can recall this over the decades. Kept hearing this name, Pinsky. I mean, different circles that I move in. I'm like, who the heck is this guy, right? What is he doing, right? So, and I have to say, most of my career, we did not connect, right? Well, our paths really didn't cross all that time. But I will say, what's telling for me is in all those conversations with mayors, managers, administrators, elected officials, the one telling thing is that they were always positive, Frank. They were all, as I just thought, they were always respectful. And there's actually there's few people who could actually say that and experience that, because most of the people in this room and our decision makers, there's people that support us and don't support us, people that say positive things and negative things. And that's a very unique thing that you need to take with you as you move on. But I can say on behalf of all the municipal officials around the state that we couldn't have been more honored to be able to work with you over this time period, and the incredible work that you've done to help us and all of our thousands and tens of thousands of employees that we have around the state has been incredibly meaningful. And your shoes, as we go through the recruitment process, it's going to make it even considerably more challenging for us to be able to fill that position. So I want to personally thank you, but also thank you on behalf of the hundreds of municipal officials that are out there for all of the incredible work that you've done over the years.
Wendy, it's been a pleasure to be able to work with them as well. I've been probably every municipality at some point in my time.
I'm sure.
That's very nice to think.
Yeah.
Just want to reiterate what everyone said. I've only been here for a little over a year, and I'm amazed at how you not only handle yourself, but how you deal with everyone else and whatever comes your way. I've seen that, like I said, in a little over a year, but there's how many people who sat on this board who aren't here right now to say those words to you. So on behalf of them, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mike. That's very nice. Appreciate all that.
Frank. When I first came onto this board, I was a little nervous, I admit. I've been in the state government world for a while, but this was sort of a whole new world to me. And sometimes when you enter a position like this, you don't even know what questions to ask. Frank, being a beacon of knowledge, knew what questions that I should be asking, and I always felt supported and comfortable, and never felt silly asking him to explain it to me like I'm a kindergartner. So thank you so much, Frank, for all of your support. Your attention to detail is unrivaled, and this board is really going to feel that loss. So thank you so much, and best of luck on your retirement. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
I hope you hate it and come back. I'm just.
For that.
Well, he spends so much time at Disney. Don't be surprised if he's working out there.
That was That's part of the spousal management program. My wife is a bonkers Disney thing, so I played along. All I got was the bill.
Good luck, you might want to come back.
Exactly.
Frank, one of the newbies here on this board, and I'm not gonna repeat everything that everyone said, because I think it's common knowledge. What surprised me is when I used to send you an email and I get a call back in 1900 saying, give me a call, and it's like, why is he still at work? They did make it different, respond to me, and I just want to make a point, hopefully, Andy, in that job description, you added that anyone you hired has to wear a bow tie. Either that, prevail upon Patrick to be.
All negotiable, all negotiable, wow.
Okay. Frank, thank you. You've always answered my questions anytime, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I can tell you during the pandemic, the casual stuff lasted about a week and a half. I was putting my suits back on. And my wife was like, why are you doing that? I'm like, it's just happening.
Well, again, Frank, you
Thank
felt
you.
the love, and support of all of us in your retirement. We wish you the best, and I'm sure we will stay in touch.
100%.
He'll be recognized on the Senate and House floor tomorrow at the Rise. And I know there's a reception next week that you've all been invited to, so I hope you'll. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Meeting has adjourned.
And make sure you've got my call, my phone.